Oh, yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-JAY, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for Wu-Tang and American Saga. This episode is called Liquid Swords as we get into the making of GZA, the Genius album, Liquid Swords. Family, a whole lot of messages. We're going to break it down.
VACAY-JTV.
So the description reads, for the third allegoric movie of the season, we follow GZA, who takes on the persona of the genius as he journeys through an alternate reality, New York City, to unite the people using his music from his debut solo album, Liquid Swords. So fam, as we take this journey, just know that, yes, we are going into that allegoric type of movie type style, which I do like. It definitely gives us a visual as to how this album is being made. And we see the GZA, he's sitting in the dark. He's absolutely listening to his single. We see Devon, he comes through because there's no power in the house. He's like, yo, why you sitting there by yourself? Again, he's listening, studying, trying to get this album done. So they sit down and they talk about how, basically the GZA doesn't want to conform to what the radio wants. You know what I'm saying? The radio and everybody needs to conform to what they're doing, which is pure hip hop. They're not trying to do joints with collaborations, like with Mariah and like all of that. He's really trying to have the whole Wu-Tang Clan on his album and keeping it pure hip hop. But of course, you got Devon trying to, just say, hey, D'Angelo's at the club. I'm sure RZA can get you on that. And he's not trying to hear it. He's like, yo, we're going to keep it pure. We're going to keep it raw. We're going to make it happen. Of course, Devon keeps trying to convince him that that's probably not the way to go. But no, the GZA wants what he wants, and he's going to try to get everybody on the album again. So, Devon's like, all right, I hear what you're saying. You got to do what you got to do, but you got a whole lot of work ahead of you because a lot of them are not even available because they're doing a whole lot of other things. So he's got his work cut out for him to get them on the album. So he takes his pad, he writes down and lets them know, hey, listen, this is everybody you got to work on, man. So peace, God, do what you got to do. I'm out. So Devon gives him his book. And there's the list of everybody he wants on the album, which is everybody pretty much in the Wu-Tang Clan. He lays back and says, yeah, we're going to make it happen. And now we go into the world of the GZA and Liquid Swords. As we go on this journey, we first see Dennis's little brother who's in the wheelchair, but he's talking, right? And he's stuck. Looks like his engine went out or whatever. He takes out some swords and, the GZA's like, yo, hold on. He's like, oh, you the GZA? He's like, yo, where you going? Where you off to? He's like, yo, I'm going to see the RZA. And the RZA is up in the Wu Mountains. You know what I'm saying? So I like how they're doing it, man. I like how it's not just a story about him being in the studio. The RZA is actually giving us a creative way, a creative visual as to how this is being done. So we now are going into the legend of the Liquid Swords, of course, written and directed by the RZA. So here we go. As we go on this journey, it's now time for the GZA to go on his mission to get each and every Wu-Tang member to join him in the fight against the culture vultures, right? Against the powers that be, against the industry who wants them to conform and to do pop music, right? So we first start off in Medina, and Medina is going to remind us of Brooklyn, right? So they go to Brooklyn. His first mission is to find Master Killer. So he sees this young lady and he's asking, where is, Master Killer? He goes by another name, but he's like, yeah, he's dead. It's like, all right, you're going to try the spicy drink. He tries the spicy drink and he's like, ooh, man, this is crazy. He's like, only, your father, who you said died, can make this ingredients the way it is. So just tell me exactly where he is so I can talk to him, right? So, of course, she's trying to hide him from everybody. So she eventually tells him, yeah, he's in the lab. So we go to the lab and we see Master Killer. He's working on some stuff, and yeah, they definitely greet each other. He's happy to see him. And, he's really talking about exactly what happened. He's trying to find out exactly what happened to hip hop, what happened to the music, what happened to the people. And he's like, yo, the powers that be just kind of took over and people kind of like gave up. So some artists gave up doing, pure hip hop music to go for the popularity, of course, for the money and everything. So they're talking about how there's an underground station is the only station left that's playing pure hip hop. So as he finds the station, his headphones light up. So he starts to listen and he hears somebody dropping some verses, dropping some pure hip hop verses. And we see a young lady. Who is it? That is Cherie. And she's at the Wu station. This is the only hip hop station left that's playing pure hip hop. Of course, we see August 11th, where hip hop was born. And we see how the end of culture is going to happen in 36 hours if the GZA doesn't get his album done and find each and every Wu member to open up the chambers. So they're working on trying to absolutely do their thing. They lock themselves in the station because this is the only underground station left that plays pure hip hop, right? So it kind of reminds me of a Stretch and Bobbito show. If you know, you guys from New York, you know, Stretch and Bobbito only playing pure hip hop, right? So they have only 36 hours left before the culture ends from the culture vultures. I really like how they're doing this. This is a mission for them to open up all the chambers for the GZA to find each and every Wu member and absolutely get the album done to save hip hop. And again, not just talking about hip hop, the music aspect only, we're talking about hip hop as a culture. You know, the GZA's like, yo, let's go. But Master Killer's like, nah, I'm not ready to go. You know, and he's like, yo, what's the point of being woke and not doing anything? His daughter convinced him, like, listen, now's the time for you to do what you need to do. So he grabs his rhyme book and he is ready to rock and roll. So your boy, the GZA, he crosses off his name. We got Master Killer down with us. Let's move on. Next person we're going to go to is going to be Inspector Deck. Now, they go to another section and they see this dude walking around all crazy. They go to 4th and Broadway. And guys, just know that was a label underneath Universal Records as well. I like how they slipping in these little sub-labels and everything that we used to listen to. They find Inspector Deck and it looks like he's going crazy with all of this stuff going on. So they try to get the young guy to play the flute to distract him. So the GZA goes behind him and he opens up the chamber. You see MF Doom up in there as well. So this is the first chamber to open up. They got 30 hours to go. And U-God does see that the chamber opened up. So he's like, yo, get back on the air. So now she's spitting another line, another verse, right? And she's spitting that verse. And we also see Roscos over there in there as well. And, you know, Inspector Deck is like, yo, pardon self. I kind of went crazy with all the different, you know, people giving up on hip hop and everything else like that. So he's like, yo, I need you. He's like, yo, I'm with you. So now Inspector Deck is down to be on the album as well. So it's time to go to war. They got Master Killer and Inspector Deck down, and now they got to get everybody else. So Inspector Deck is like, listen, we're going to find a way to make it easy to get to these other sections. So we got Inspector Deck, Master Killer. Who's next? We need to go see ODB, right? So they have to go to another place. Now, let's break it down. As you see the logo here, it's a vulture. This is the Culture Vulture Central. And we see this guy talking to the man. They call him the minister. We call him the man, right? The man behind the man. And he is hearing about the chamber being opened up and people now being conscious in that area of Medina. And he's upset because he doesn't want people to be conscious about pure, real hip hop. So they go to another place, and this place is what? The place that ODB abandoned, right? So we remember the Fantasy remix with Mariah. He was like, yo, New York is in the house, right? So he abandoned it. They said that he doesn't need to use a rhyme book. These girls roll up playing the Fantasy remix with Mariah Carey. And, you know, they being all nice or whatever. The girl gets off and she's like, yeah, my name is Roma and these are Roma's bitches, right? So we're looking at the GZA. He's like, yo, why y'all being nice to us, right? He's like, yo, I'm being nice when we want to get a little freaky, right? So, you know, of course, your boy Master Killer's like, hey, you know, I'm with that, right? So they're luring them in. And they're giving them a drink, right? They're giving them whatever this drink is. They're drinking it up because they're thirsty. She gives one to the GZA, and he gets on the bike. He's real apprehensive of all of this, but he does get a drink. Now, I looked up the name Roma, and it's Roma Music Group, and their independent label, and their number one artist is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right? The Lullaby. Now, again, what happens to the guys? They drink that drink and they fall out. All right. My man in the wheelchair, he does not drink it, so he's still awake. But they are knocked out after they drink that drink. Must have been some whack juice in that drink, right? And they are knocked out and they are taking them in. And what do? They string them up, they tie them up, and of course they tie up the Jizza as well. Your boy Master Killer's like, yo, I'm not in no S&M type of stuff, and they put something in his mouth. It's crazy, right? So this guy comes in, he says, yo, I want to know who was the guy that opened up the chamber. Of course, the Jizza's like, I'm the guy. I'm the one that did it. It's like, all right, come with me, right? So now they take him to the minister, right? They place him in front of the minister, and he's like, yeah, how did you know how to do that? Who are you? He's asking them questions or whatever the case is, because, again, the minister wants to oppress the people, and the jizz is like, okay, I know who you are. You're the one. You're the MF that's trying to oppress our people and keep them in place. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to keep them in place. And he's like, that's not what you do. That's against all of our cultures, to try to control us and hold us down. He's like, why can't we just, you guys accept the real pure hip hop? You want to sign popular people. We're trying to put out pure hip hop. And he says the reason why we just sign popular people is because your pure hip hop inspires revolt, right? So they don't want revolt. And he's saying, listen, you could just sign with us. And he takes off his mask and he reveals who he is. You can sign with us, wear the shiny suits, and everything will be all good. You'll be popular and you'll get all the money. And of course, the Jizza is against the culture vultures. And he says, listen, your buddy, ODB, he seems to be enjoying himself. So he turns around, and who does he see? He sees the fatherless child, ODB, right? That's what he calls him, the fatherless child. He's like, yo, Jizza, right? And he got all these girls around him, and he's all chained up, right? Because, ODB did do that remix with Mariah, and he's doing a whole bunch of remixes. He's like now popular, right? So again, he's like, listen, you could be down with us. Of course, the Jizza says, nah. He throws on some music. And what does he throw on? He throws on the beat to Duel of the Iron Mike, which is the second song on the Liquid Sword album, right? So he has powers now. He's making glass break in the whole place. And the minister realizes that, yeah, he has liquid swords. His liquid swords is his lyrics. It's not a physical sword, It's actually his lyrics was coming out of his mouth, was coming from his brain. He puts his mask back on, and he's about to try to battle, right? But who comes? That's right, ODB remembers who he is, and he's doing a hook, Duel of the Iron Mike, right? So now, he's trying to break out of these chains. Who comes? Inspector Deck comes because they escaped, and he does his part as well, and ODB, he does the hook on there. And, of course, Master Killer does his thing as well. So they're throwing, these vibrations. It's throwing the minister back. So he runs and escapes. And, yes, ODB comes back to who he truly is. That's right. The Jizz is happy to see him. And he's like, yo, thank you for freeing me, from the chains, of the industry, of the pop culture, right? So he's like, yo, what do we have to do? We got to find the RZA, right? We got to get all these chambers opened up. So that's what they're going to do next. So we finally got ODB. We cross his name out. He's now down with the Jizza to finish up this album, right? So they're happy to see each other. Look at these guys. This guy's pants, man, he got the Busta Rhymes pants, right? Because he was on the lecture with Busta. Here we go. The end of the culture. 18 hours and a minute left. Something has to happen. U-Guard tries to open up the door. Again, they locked themselves in the studio because they didn't want anybody to come in and shut them down. They didn't want the minister to come in and shut them down once they found out, their reach as far as playing pure hip hop. Again, this is Wu Radio, and more chambers are now opening up, and they're seeing what's going on. If all the chambers are opened up, then the Jizza will do his album, and he will save hip hop culture, right, from the culture vultures, right? That's the whole mission right now, is to do that. So she gets back on the mic, she spits some more lyrics, and of course there's messages within the lyrics. Now, again, these guys are going to the next spot to try to get the next Wu member. Of course, he's talking about, yeah, we could have stayed with those girls, and they're making jokes. They get the frequency, and the headphones light up again. So the Jizza hears the lyrics, and he's trying to figure out, what's the message in the lyrics. So they go to this next spot, and I believe this has to be symbolic to the Bronx because it says Pelham, right, where it all started. And again, hip hop started in the Bronx. And even this sign right here says, how can hip hop be dead? And this is like a third world country. You got people shooting up, You got ladies with babies. You got, abandoned buildings. Reminds me of the Bronx and where they're going to, as far as like, just people not doing well out there back in the day. Shout out to the BX. Shout out to my cousins out there as well. You see people on the sides just eating stuff. It's not looking real good. You know what I'm saying? It is looking like a third world country. But this is what reminds me of the BX, right? Of how, they got the speakers and the DJ out there. They in the parks. They lighting stuff up, right? So he looks up and he's seeing a whole bunch of shells from bullets dropping down, people crying, women crying. It's dropping to his feet. This symbolic, man, this is incredible what they're doing with this thing. This is very artistic, how they're showing how, our people are dying because we're shooting each other over turf and all of this stuff. And of course, he's moved by this, right? He is emotionally moved by this. And of course, he shouts out, in the name of Allah, we got to stop this. This is not us. This is not what we need to do in order to, cultivate each other. We shouldn't be killing ourselves. So it's a real serious moment. And I really felt it. And obviously he did too as well, because again, it's a cry out to our people. So we will stop killing each other, not only on a physical level, but also on a music level. So here we go with these gangster guys that come out. It's like, yo, what you doing on our turf? Of course, Master Killer's on some like, yo, we don't even own turf. What are you talking about? So he's trying to get these guys to see that we have to put down the guns or whatever. We got, who's that, Gilly Kid, right? And he pulls out the 4-4. He's like, listen, man, if you shoot me, I'm still going to be here. And guess what? Same thing is going to happen to you. So he puts the gun down and he's trying to put out a plan and say, hey, listen, we got this here, but we got to grow on our cipher, right? All of them have iPhones on their necks and they see Wanted, the Genius, right? Probably by the minister. It's like, yo, this guy's worth a lot of money. Let's bring him in. He's like, yo, listen, we could both bring him in or whatever, but I want the record deal. So they're fighting over record deal. And the Genius is like, yo, you guys will come together to do bad, but you won't come together to do good. So he's like, yo, man, let's take this guy in. So they go to the street light and they light up the street light to open up that chamber. And the Master Killer says, yo, man, slay these guys, right? So they try to attack him. Boom, he starts rapping. And yeah, he starts taking these guys out. And the energy from his lyrics is taking these guys out, right? They're trying to attack him. These are probably a whole bunch of whack rappers, a whole bunch of industry people trying to hold back real pure hip hop. I love the symbolism in this, you know what I'm saying? And the Jizza is just slaying them lyrically. But then he picks them back up, right? He's lyrically slaying them, but he picks them back up. And he lets them know, listen, man, we just all got to come together. They pull out the straps and say, listen, man, listen, these straps are used for hunting and we shouldn't hunt each other. You know what I'm saying? We need to come together, defend each other, lift each other up. So he's dropping science. He's dropping lessons in this as well. So they come together as the Jizza has instructed them and advised them to do. And again, this is another part of the culture that definitely needed to be addressed, right? So now we got another chamber opened up and we see the Culture Vulture Tower, right? This is crazy funny. And we see all this food and we see all this crazy stuff going on. We see the dude, his little assistant, and we see the symbol of the Culture Vulture. And we see these nasty big old men eating, they're freaking like topless. And, the minister goes in there and says, yes, another chamber was opened up. This is not good for the culture. The Culture Vultures is not good for popular music. And his little assistant is like, well, maybe we should negotiate with them so there won't be any war, right? So these guys, I see them as the greedy executives that the Jizza talks about. They start laughing because they're not going to share anything with the artists. They're just going to steal from the culture, water down the culture. So they are not with it at all. Of course, the minister's like, yeah, we're just going to give them annihilation. That's what they deserve to have. This is crazy. Great depiction of the greedy executives, the short arms and deep pockets, right? So we got the Jizza talking to the Wu radio station, and she's like, listen, we only got a couple of chambers left, and there's only a couple of hours left. You guys got to do all of this at the same time. How are you going to do it? So the Jizza says, I have a plan. He's going to send Inspector Deck to go to Method Man, right? They call him Shadow Boxing, but that's the name of the song that's on his album. And he tells him to give him a tape, right, which is the beat to the Shadow Boxing song. All right. Now he sends Master Killer to go to get Ghostface, right? Of course, his brother gives original rhyme book, right? He gives him the original rhyme book. He says, yo, if he gives you problems, show him this original rhyme book. So he shows him his original rhyme book that he had from the beginning, right? When he was D-Lover. And he looks at the book. He's like, all right. He looks at the book. He doesn't say anything, but you see it right on his face. He's like, all right, man, we got to get back to it. I'm going to get back to rhyming so I can get on this album, save the culture. And now we got his little brother, and he's going up to see, up on a mountain. And the Jizz is going to go see, that's right, Raekwon the chef in the gold room, right? The gold chamber, right? So he goes there. And he says, peace, God, and, I'm sorry for your loss. And he's mourning the loss of his mother, right? We find out that his mother passed away and how he explains how, with all the success that he had with only built for Cuban links and everything, while he had success, it just created more and more, scheduling for him to do as far as interviews, as far as everything. And all that time went by and his mother passed away. And of course, Jizz is like, yo, you can't, just sit here and mourn. It's time to give back to the culture. And he's just saying how the culture didn't give back to him, how when his mother passed away, nobody was there for him. So what did he do? He just shut everything down. He shut everything down. But of course, the Jizz is like, yo, man, we really got to give back at this point, man. It's time to open back up. And we really have to do what we have to do for the people. He's like, yo, I got to do this for myself. So he kicks the Jizz out. And the Jizz writes a little something on a note, and then he slides it to the guard as they are about to now kick him out from there. So now we have, of course, Ghostface, little brother. His wheelchair breaks down, and he drops the note because his sister at the radio station gave him a note, right? Gave him something to give to the RZA once they get to him. So now they're just like, all right, man, a lot of this stuff is happening, but he's like, yeah, Raekwon didn't do it. They only got an hour left. I mean, this is getting really intense. Are they going to open up all the chambers? He's like, yo, this is the final hour. So U-God goes on and he spits his lyrics as well. And here we go. We're about to have a showdown with the culture vultures and the actual hip hop culture. So they're gearing up, getting ready, right? Method Man's people getting ready. He opens up his chamber. All right, and we got that chamber opened up. So we got a couple of more left, right, that need to be opened up. Now we got Ghostface. Ghostface is doing what he has to do and try to, mess around and get his chamber opened up as well. Master Killer's right there, and they finally get his chamber opened up. And that's all right. So now we got that. And now who do we have left? We got Raekwon and the RZA left. So here comes the guard, and he brings him his rhyme book. And in that rhyme book, as he's opening up his old rhyme book, right, because that's what he requested, it is the Jizz's note saying, we live forever through the work at our art, which inspires the future generations from the spirit we spark. Pure, dope lyrics. Definitely gets to Raekwon, and absolutely he's thinking about it. And here we go with Mess. So now his chamber's open, and of course, the culture vultures are coming in there to try to shut it down. But yeah, he throws on that tape, and here we go with the shadow boxing. So he performs shadow boxing, and he's knocking all these cats out. They can't even get up, and he walks out the door. It's all good. We got the Wu cloud in the air, and who do we see? We see the RZA, and he's up in there in the Monk Mountains, up in the Wu Mountains, trying to develop a new sound. And here comes, Dennis's brother, Ghostface's brother. He's like, yo, man, I know you're looking for a new sound. So he plays the flute, right? And what does he play? He plays this melody. And yeah, your boy, the RZA, he turns on all his machines. Everything starts lighting up. And yeah, he starts to play from that flute melody. He starts to create the fourth chamber, right? That's the fourth chamber on the Liquid Swords album. I mean, the beat is crazy, right? And here we go. That chamber's opened up. And now we're just waiting for Raekwon as he, again, is reading what the Jizza left him, which inspires him. Is he going to flip the switch and open up his chamber as they are about to prepare for battle? Yes, he goes and he opens up his chamber. That's right. He's doing it for the culture. He's doing it to save hip-hop culture, and everything lights up. The Wu-Tang clan is back together, And now we are ready to fight off the culture vultures. And here we go as we perform the fourth chamber off the Liquid Swords album. Of course, Ghostface does his thing. Here comes the RZA. He does his thing as well. And as they are performing this song, battling all the culture vultures, that's right, we defeat the culture vultures. We save hip hop culture. And that's right, all because of the GZA. The GZA, the album, and bringing the Wu-Tang all together again saves hip hop culture. That's right. So the RZA and the GZA are standing there looking at the celebration of hip hop, the celebration of the victory. And that's right, this was a victory well deserved as they fought off the culture vultures and continue to fight off the pop culture. So now we go back to the culture vulture metropolis, and he goes in there to talk to the minister. And he says, you defeated us this time, but we won't stop. He's like, that's right, we won't stop either. You know, hip hop won't stop. The pure hip hop will not stop. He's like, we're on the same team. We want the same things. He's like, no, we don't. You know, you guys want to take from the culture, and we're going to continue to push forward. And then he puts on his hood, and he's about to attack him. He's like, this time I got a real sword. So the GZA pulls out his real sword, and he goes to attack him, and boom, we transition into the album cover for the GZA's album, Liquid Swords. Super dope. I like the episode, fam. I like how they did this. I like how they brought it together. I like it all. And it was all for hip hop culture. And of course, we're looking at the album. The GZA's happy with the album. He's like, yo, this is the best album. This is better than Only Built for Cuban Links. He's like, you only saying that because you're on the album. He's like, nah, I'm saying that because I brought all the Wu members together on one album once again since 36 Chambers, right? So this is the only album that has all the members on there. So he's like, listen, I want to bring the guys together. He's like, listen, I got to go and do something. Geffen Records is offering me a production deal just like you to sign Master Killer. So he's trying to get all the guys together. Of course, Divine comes in there. He's like, yo, man, I want to give you some news. That's right. The GZA's album, Liquid Swords, is top 10 and it's doing real well. Congratulations on another top 10 release. He's like, yo, I want to get the brothers. But Divine's like, yo, you got to do that without me. And he's like, listen to the messages, man, before you get all hyped. So he's listening to the messages, and each and every member is pretty much bailing on him, saying they got to do this. And there's an album release party, and ODB is over there with Mariah. And, you know, Meth is like doing his thing. And, you know, Raekwon and Ghost is doing a remix for Fiendin' for Jodeci. So he's just like, man, with all the success that's happening, now they're just too busy to focus on an actual Wu-Tang album. Will they bring it together? We shall see in the next upcoming episodes of the Wu-Tang Clan and American Saga family. I really enjoyed this episode. Drop your comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Definitely, if you're finding me for the first time, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And again, let's keep this thing going. Till next time, salute.